Hello and welcome to the Crone Zone. I'm Lynn. So today we're looking at this question which comes around quite often. Can I read tarot for myself? Does that work? And you will see it sometimes said that no, you can't. But I'm going to say, in short, the answer to that is definitely yes, you can. And I'd go further and say that the whole point for me of setting up the Crone's Own Tarot was to enable you to have the skills to do exactly that. Nobody understands your subconscious better than you do, and nobody is more empowered in that field than you are. So, short answer yes, you can read your own tarot, but there are a few provisos. And the first of these is that, of course, you have to have at least a basic grounding in the meaning of the cards. If you don't know what any of the cards mean, it's not going to be very easy for you to read. Point number two, there will be times when it's absolutely essential and for your best to leave the tarot aside. And that includes times when you're tired, times when you're unwell, when you're overwrought or extremely stressed. At times such as these, it's much better to sleep, rest, wait, restore some sense of equilibrium in yourself, and then attempt to read, but not in the maelstrom of extreme tiredness or distress. That's not going to help you get helpful, useful advice from the cards. So that's quite an important point. And I factor in here that if you do have a daily practice or an ongoing practice of yoga or meditation or mindfulness or some way that you manage to balance and restore yourself daily if possible, even if it's only for a few minutes, that's going to help you be a much more balanced reader. Because this brings me to my another point I want to make, which is that you can't impose your will on the cards. You will want some things to happen in your life. You'll want to push things a particular way. You mustn't override or try to override the cards. You must try to remain detached. They must be able to speak their truth to you, even if it's not exactly what you were wanting to hear. And if they can't do that, they're not really going to be of true service and help to you. So detachment is important. So let's assume that you are balanced and rested in a good place. There are still some questions which you shouldn't ask the tarot. These include questions you don't really want to know the answer to. If you don't really want to know the answer, don't ask. I would also say, don't ask questions that snoop on other people's business. You are looking into your energy field, and so you relate to other people as they relate to you. So you can ask questions about your interaction with them, how best you can support them, or how best you can avoid them, or whatever. But it's not your business to snoop into somebody else's energy field. It's not a good thing to do. It's my own discipline not to ask the tarot questions that I can find out in other ways. That may be simply by asking someone, or it may be by waiting a few days. And in those instances, I practice patience. I don't try to look into outcomes that I'm very soon going to find out just by being patient and letting things unfold for me. So that's another point to remember. And now I come to something that we've all done at some time. We've all been guilty of this. And that is to return a card to the deck, thinking, oh no, that can't be right. That must have slipped out by mistake. I'll just shove that one back in. No. If you get a card, you get a card. If you don't understand it, well, you may not want it, but if you don't understand it, if its meaning isn't clear to you, write it down, keep a log of it, keep a note of it, of what question you were asking or what day this card emerged. Sit with it and wait. It's very well worth it, because when the penny eventually drops, and it does, may take a day or two, but it will drop, you will reach understanding. You really deepen your relationship with the cards. And it's a much more enriching experience, and it teaches you so much. So that's another one. Don't return those cards to the deck. So my last point was really about trusting what you get from the cards. It's important. And this is the final don't, I promise. And it is, don't keep asking the same question, hoping that eventually you're going to get the answer you want. Because you're just going to come up with something that's false if you do that. You need to trust what you get out. That's bottom line. Because what you're doing really is trusting your own inner knowing and intuition. And the more you do that, the more it will speak to you loud and clear. So, having covered all these don'ts, don't do this, don't do that, what can we do? Well, an excellent practice, which I've said right from the outset of the course, was to draw a daily card. And this can definitely be around questions. There's a whole multitude of questions that these can be, but things like, what should my focus be today? What is really going to help me meet the challenges I have today? What's my best course of action for the day? All of these, how can I best relate to people today? These are all questions that you can ask the tarot. Or simply, what's my focus is a really good one. And I'd like to give you an example of this for me today. That question, what's my focus? One card. Now, as I'm recording this, it is the morning of the autumn equinox in the Northern Hemisphere. So it's the morning of the 23rd of September. And the sun crossed the celestial equator at 7:30 this morning. So equinox energy is what we're about, equal day and night. So I pull a card. What do I get as what should I focus on? And I get the Chariot. Now, this seemed the most perfect card to me to get, the most perfect card. I'm mindful that for the Greeks and the Egyptians, the sun was a god that rode in a chariot across the sky. So it was Ra, the sun god, did this. Phaeton, the wagoner, the sun god, also, crossing the sky. So we've got that image there for me in particular. And then we have the black and the white sphinx, the light and the dark, the yin and the yang, that duality of both energies of equal day and equal night. And so my clear message I got was, meditate on the balance here. This amazing tipping point has been reached now at this moment of equilibrium. How can we balance that in all areas? So that's quite a profound message just from this single card draw. And I also think because the cards operate on multi-levels, that it's also, in its more basic form, a message for me, well, get going today, get a shove on, get meeting your challenges. So, a good day to get this video recorded and uploaded. Okay, so I'll leave you with that. I hope that you do continue with these daily draws. And remember, you can seek clarification cards. You can also keep a note of them. And each time you return to a card, you go back, you check its meaning, you pull out all those associations that you might have forgotten about, and you also make new ones for you, very personal to you and that card. It's a great process. It's fascinating. Well, at least I hope you find it so. I certainly do. So, more next time, and I'll leave you for now and say bye bye.